I think it's time we take the crown out of Crown Victoria and give it to somebody else. Let's have that debate after the jump. No doubt, for the longest time, the Ford Crown Victoria and all of its offshoots were known for their reliability as a fleet vehicle. Taxi cabs and police departments everywhere picked those up. But for us hot rodders, for offbeat hot rodders like myself, if you wanted a cheap entry-level platform to get into, to get V8 power and rear-wheel drive and have a car, the Crown Victoria was it, because, well, in the mid-90s to mid-2000s, Detroit wasn't pumping out many rear-wheel drive V8 cars outside of your Camaros and Mustangs. So the Crown Victoria, for our youth, was a great way to get in. Well, it was also a great way for our elderly to have a reliable vehicle as well. But hey, if you're meeting me for the first time, I'm Grant Tommy, and this is Straight Six Fan, your home for offbeat hot rodding. Let's jump back into my driveway, into my garage, and let's pick up the conversation from here. Alright, so let's be real for a second. This recipe, it wasn't originated by the Crown Victoria. This has been one that's been going on for years, and one of the stories I like to tell, this anecdote, people always ask me what got you into cars. So growing up as a kid in the mid-90s, there were two shows that sort of inspired me for car building, and that was, of course, Tim Allen's 32 Ford on Home Improvement, but then also it was Family Matters. So if you remember that show, Carl Winslow has to buy a car for high schooler Eddie Winslow, and so he drags home this old piece of junk, which just so happens to be a 1977 Dodge Monaco retired cop car that he bought off a police auction. And of course it's this uninspiring dump of a car that he drags home, and of course Eddie, being the high school kid who wants a cool car, just doesn't see it. But the episode's all about like father and son working together and restoring something, building something cool. And of course, being the 90s, it hit all of the popular Pro Street check boxes there. So the wild graphics on the side and the fake blower hood scoop. But anyway, so people have been doing this for ages. Find a cheap used cop car on auction, rebuild it, make it your own. And that really is what the Crown Victoria scene kind of has always been about. And not just the old ex-taxis and ex-police cars, but, of course, like my neighbor, there's plenty of them out there because they're producing such great numbers. But because production ended in 2011 and we're in 2024, now all of a sudden, even your newest platform, Panther platforms, are 13 years old. And so I just think it is time we start thinking about what is the next generation of that car. So we're now just getting to the era where you can start to find on auctions, online auctions, government auctions, some used like 2014, 15, 16, 17 Dodge Chargers, and with mileage like around 70,000. Now, truth be told, some of them need some work, some of them have their nicks and bruises and they're beat up, and who knows how hard these vehicles were flocked. But if you stop to think about it, the thing that the Dodge Charger has the Crown Victoria cannot touch is that Gen 3 Hemi. So you get a 5.7 liter V8 Hemi with, I think those things were rated right around 345 horsepower when they came out, and they started putting them in the Dodge trucks. I think that was what first came in, and then 2007 Chargers. I would suspect you've got to be north of 345 horsepower. Just think all the same rules that applied for a Crown Victoria, all the things that made them popular, the body swaps, the old trucks, the body swaps onto those frames. You can do the same thing with this platform, and you're going to have rear-wheel drive, you're going to have a V8 power. Now, the reliability may not be as historic as those two valves, but, if some of these builds, like, the body swap craze, right? Like, these guys building these trucks, they're not building them to drive them for 200,000 miles. It's to fairgrounds cruise. Go out on a Saturday night in the summer like I do when I cruise this thing. I've owned this for 2 years, and I've put 500 miles in this car. So do you need to have the most reliable the motor? Does that pushrod motor have to be in the best shape? No. you just want to build something to have fun. And so you can score these for like looking at prices. It looks like a lot of these auctions are ending for right around $6,000. But think of the other things you can do. You could do engine swaps, and you've got all of the guts, you've got all the ECU, all of the things that make it tick, the transmission, the full drivetrain. So, again, if you're just looking for a cheap way to get Hemi power, like, I gotta say, I think we're on the threshold of the next generation type of build. So I think we're in a really exciting time. I just wanted to build this awareness. Like, let's start to think about, and if it's not the Dodge Charger, I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. What do you think is that next generation version of the Crown Victoria? Is it time to move on? I mean, the Panther platform is always going to be a great example, especially like, my neighbor, like, because that's the thing with those, is you can find good used examples that weren't a cop car or taxi cab. There's still plenty of them out there. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. What do you think is the next generation version of the Panther platform? What are you excited to see our youth building next? I mean, you also think about the aftermarket that the Dodge Charger has as a whole. So I think that makes it another great entry-level car, because all those go fast goodies out there that exist. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the discussion. That's going to do for this episode. But to all my 6 fans out there, thanks for watching.